Welcome to Cowes, where summer arrived in style this week to celebrate some very beautiful boats in Cowes Classic Week. The event, which looks set to grow and grow, incorporates the British Classic Yacht Club Regatta and the Meter and Keelboat Regatta. Alongside some of the most beautiful classics in the world, we also had the opulence of the Oyster Regatta. So this week's report is a celebration of yachting in some very fine boats indeed.
The Oyster Regatta was hosted by the Royal Yacht Squadron and consisted of 6 races over the course of the week. The majority of races were round the Cans, with the exception of Wednesday and Thursday, where competitors raced to Portsmouth on the Wednesday and then back to Cowes on the Thursday. The Oyster Regatta is split into 2 classes, Class 1 for oysters of 53 foot and above, and Class 2 for oysters of 49 foot and under. In Class 1, Starry Night, owned by Jose Alvarez, maintained enough consistency throughout the week to walk away the winners, whilst Richard Smith's Sotto Vento, despite posting last place on Thursday, secured second place overall, with Chris Masterson's Acheron taking third. In Class 2, Jubilate, owned by David Wansborough and Prue Moon, consistently placed in the top 2 positions all week to gain first overall. John Nelson and Philip Rysco's Sundancer of Chichester just slipped behind on Wednesday, putting them into second place, while Martin Nadd and Pam Smout's Morella was third. The Meter and Classic Keelboat Regatta, hosted by the Royal London Yacht Club, ran over 5 days and was open to no less than 16 different classic classes. This year, the event saw entries from 6 metres, Darings, X1 Designs, Solent Sunbeams and the Bembridge Red Wings. The 6 metres were split into modern and classic classes, and of the modern 6s, it was Scoundrel, owned by Rob Gray, which dominated the fleet with no less than 6 consecutive wins. Cathy Ashby on Wildcat 2 took second place, with consistent second places on all bar 2 of the races, and Rhys Martin with Bluebird took third place overall. Of the classic 6s, it was Tom Richardson's Thistle, which was to come out on top by the end of the week, with 3 wins, a second, third and fourth. After dropping their fourth, they were neck and neck with Peter Andre's Erica before Campback put them in the lead. Fenton Bergin with Sioma was third. 16 Darings turned out for this event. The Daring class is unique to Cowes, and over 30 boats are in the fleet. At 33 foot in length, the Daring is the longest and narrowest one design in Cowes, and it's also got the largest fleet, which regularly turn out for Solent racing each weekend. Over the 6 races, scoring was close for first, second and third, and after discard there were only 2 points between first and third. David Gower on Dolphin achieved the coveted Loop Guru trophy after taking 2 race wins during the week, which was the most of any of the fleet. After dropping his worst score, David was in the lead with 15 points. Charles Perry was hard on his heels, but the discard of 6th place was not enough to pull him into first, and he took second on a final 16 points. Dee Harkham dropped his 9th score and took third on 17 points. The Bembridge Red Wing was first built in 1896 and is a Charles Nicholson design. 12 were built ready for a race season in 1897, and the class has had 3 reincarnations over the last 100 years, the last being in 1987. Matt Alexander placed consistently with seconds and thirds throughout the week, and was able to discard his worst score to give him the lead at the end of the regatta. David McHugh on Musicus, although picking up 2 firsts, also collected a 4th and 2 fifths. His discard of one of the 5th places wasn't enough for him to take the lead, and he placed second on 13 points. Thomas Scott with Siskin placed third with 16 points. Designed by Alfred Westmacott and built in 1923 at Woodnuts Yard on the Isle of Wight, the Sunbeam One Design class has fleets at Itchenor and Falmouth. It was great to see 8 of these boats turn out for the Meter Regatta, of which one was Dainty, the first Sunbeam ever built. Tim Hill aboard Query took first place with 3 race wins, and only having to discard a 4th as his worst result, leaving him with just 7 points at the end of the week. John Davies, sailing Fleury, took second place on 12 points, while Julian Money on board Penny took third. The X1 design class has recently seen a resurrection of the Cows division. Although Cows originally played host to XODs, interest waned and then died. The 170 boat fleet was split between Lymington, Yarmouth, Itchenor and Hamble. The X1 design, like the Sunbeam, was designed by Alfred Westmacott and built at Woodnuts Yard at St Helens on the Isle of Wight. X's were first raced in Southampton Water in 1911. Today, they're the second largest one design fleet to compete in Cows Week, and they've only recently been overtaken by the Laser SB3. 13 boats turned out for the Meter Regatta, and Eric Williams racing Diana was a clear winner, posting first in every race. Susie Sheldon's Madcap was also consistent throughout the week, scoring 3 seconds, and she was able to discard a 7th to place second on 18 points, leaving Felix, Alistair Shaw's boat, in third place on 25 points.